everyone. I'm back. This is Sean from Worldwide Red Show, and I am coming to you with part 3 of our end of the year review and what I think and what I've seen about the team in the 1920 season, where Manchester United finished 3rd when everyone said we weren't even going to finish in the top 5. All kinds of pundits. You know who you are. You said that we might be lucky to get Europa, and we got 3rd, baby. Guess what? We're doing our thing. We're on the comeback. At least that's me. We're on the comeback. Anyway, if you're new here, go ahead and hit the like button, share button, subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way you know every time we are live here at Worldwide Red Show. Again, this is Sean. I am mobile. As you guys know, if you watched the first 2 videos, I'm mobile because my sons are both out training tonight. And so I took a break away from coaching this year to just be dad. And we're going to see how it goes. It's hard because thank goodness for COVID, because I have an excuse. Well, not thank goodness. Look, that's terrible. Rewind that. COVID's been horrible. People are dying. We're not thankful for it. I'm just going to say this. COVID keeps me in the car because I'm not actually allowed to go out because I don't want to be out there wanting to coach and yelling at my kids. I'm just going to let them do their thing. Anyway, guys, we're going to finish our 3-part series. We're going to combine midfield and attack because we've been going over the 1920 season and how we felt about it. Overall, how we felt about how things have went. We've talked about our coach. We've talked about our defense and our goalie. And so today we're going to talk about the midfielder and our midfielders and our attack. Because here's the thing, guys. Games are won and lost in the midfield. And one of the greatest things that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done has bring a smile back to one of the greatest midfield players in the world. Probably the greatest talent of a midfielder in the world, which is Paul Pogba. There's nothing the guy can't do. He can play any position. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's got tech, he takes people on, he can make runs, he can hit that. How this guy just hits 70-yard diagonal passes to people in stride. The guy is filthy when he cares. And I feel like one of the best things that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done is bring Pogba really back into the fold. If he signs a contract this summer, wow, that would be amazing. But here's the thing, Pogba can't do it all by himself. And so most of the season, I haven't liked really how Pogba has been set up to play, because we played a lot of 4-2-3-1 where Paul Pogba plays the double pivot. Now, before you guys get on me and start saying, oh, that's where he plays for France. That's where he plays for France. And they won a World Cup. They won a World Cup. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a Yank. You say soccer. And before you do all that kind of ridiculous stuff, if you watch how we play, it's different than how France plays. And I'll be honest with you, France, they typically have a guy beside Pogba running around like a psycho named N'Golo Kante. He's a little bit faster and a little bit better quality of busting up the play than our guy, who is Nemanja Matic. Or Fred. Be honest with you, Fred, y'all don't listen. Go ahead and just zoom past this statement because you might not like it, but Fred played better than Kante this year. But again, Kante is being played a lot out of his position. Frank brought him back into that position, but I know in his previous coach. Sorry if you just heard my vehicle shut off. I had it running because it's so hot out here. Anyway, I love the heat, but I had to have that air conditioner blasting. Anyway, I digress. Back to where I'm at. Conte, a lot of times, wasn't playing in that 6 role, and he's typically played in a 4-3-3, except with Paul, where he plays 4-2-3-1. Paul Pogba is an amazing player. That deep-lying playmaker he's been playing, where he's making those long passes, I feel like it's not getting the best out of him. I feel like if Paul Pogba ever had the free role that people think he does, that he doesn't, the role that Bruno Fernandes has, the type of stats he would put up, if you put Paul Pogba in the same position in Manchester City that De Bruyne plays, I'm telling you his numbers would be better. The guy is ridiculous and phenomenal. He's an amazing player, an amazing talent. And the fact is there's reasons he doesn't get the love that he deserves. Some of it has to do with his agent, and some of it has to do with he just don't speak out enough about certain things, and I get it. I don't always like it either, especially when he's saying things through his brother and through different people. I understand that. I don't like it myself, but he's an amazing talent. So he's played it in this 4-2-3-1 with typically Matic or Fred or McTominay beside him. And let's talk about this. We need midfield depth. We need stronger players in the midfield. If I could buy any position right now in this attack, the attack and the midfield, the first thing will be right wing. And we all know who that is. After that, it will be CDM, a central defensive midfielder, preferably a destroyer. If I could have anybody right now, it would be Wilfred Ndidi, but he would cost way too much money. So I would say we could get someone like Thomas Partey, who could be got for $40 million. But here's the thing. Does he want to come? We don't know. Here's, like I said in my previous video, we got all these guys that play a lot of FIFA, which don't get me wrong, I play FIFA. I play career mode. I'm the manager. I do all that kind of stuff. However, guys, we cannot just think that it's like FIFA, that you can just go and sign whoever you want. You literally might want to sign somebody who you can get, but they do not want to play for you. They don't want to play for Oli. They don't want to come to Manchester. It happens. Look at Di Maria, the snake. He never wanted to be there. It's the same as like, I'll be honest with you, my kids, especially my younger son, he really grinds hard, and he's a strong player. He's one of the best players, in our state for his age. So I actually moved him to a more competitive area. He's a strong player. I shouldn't confess this or admit this in public, but I'm going to do it. One of the best coaches in our entire region is from Blackpool. And he's moved to the States, and he actually has a contract with Liverpool, and he runs something in America called Liverpool Academy, and he's in one of the Liverpool academies. So my son goes to some of their camps, and he always laughs at me because I told him, don't even give him that shirt because we will burn it at the end. And I'm like, I'm not even playing. It's going in the trash. So don't waste the $20 to use my son's money on that Liverpool shirt, that Liverpool Summer Academy shirt, because he's not wearing it, period. We'll wear red. And we're petty. We'll wear this stuff. I'll send him to camp in this. I don't care. I got time for it. But I'm gonna say this: if Liverpool was trying to get my child, I'll be honest with you, my son probably would be like, I ain't going. Does West Ham have scouts? I ain't going to Liverpool, because I've indoctrinated him to hate them. And so the funny thing is, now again, when we're talking about that kind of money, that kind of success, I'm sure we would all make exceptions. But I digress. There are people that literally don't want to go play somewhere. They have their heart set on something. Thomas Partey, for example, might have his heart set on Arsenal. It might be who he's always watched. He just loves them. I don't know. So we can't just assume we could get whoever we want, however we want. It's not FIFA. All right? You can't do that. But here's the thing, guys. I think that midfield-wise, we need to be stronger in the middle. We need I think we need a new first choice CDM. Even though Matic at times has been amazing. With Matic, I feel like he burns real hot and cold. When he plays well and goes to a purple patch, it's amazing. But then he just kind of falls off. And when Matic is bad, it's real bad because he slows play down. He starts playing side to side and Cruyff turning in the middle of the field. And, but overall, this year, Matic has been a phenomenal part of our team. I think Fred kicked on this year and played really well at times. And other times really bad. I think of Newcastle early in the season, Fred. I wondered how in the world he was a professional football player at all. It was terrible. I'm like, man, I'm broke up and old, Fred, and I could have that touch. I mean, take me out on the field. I got time for it. I can get blown up and be terrible and make us lose. I'll do it. It was bad. But overall, we have Pogba, and then we have, of course, the shining light of the whole season, the acquisition of Bruno Fernandes, who's played in that advanced role more as a 10, when actually I think when you study his whole career, some of his best numbers and best attributes has been as a total box-to-box 8. I think that Bruno Fernandes and Pogba, I think their positions could be switched. I really do. I don't think that Bruno is as strong, though, at winning the ball back. Now, Bruno will get after people and try to put a tackle in, but he's not as good at that as Paul Pogba is. So I understand why Oli does what he does with them. But overall, guys, our midfield needs some help. Overall this year, we've seen, Scott McTominay, for example. I know a lot of you love Scotty McSauce and McTerminator and all the stuff you call him. But he's just never done it for me. There's times throughout this year, I felt like he's had a kind of a purple patch and played well. I know he is a physical beast. I mean, he is a monster. And the goal he scored against City alone makes me give him a thumbs up. However, he's a squad player. He is not a starter at Manchester United. And honestly, he sees himself. Listen to his interviews. He sees himself as an 8 or as an attacking player. So trying to force him to play that deep-lying role, I know that he's got the perfect guy to teach him in Michael Carrick, but does he have it in him? You know, I don't know. Only time will tell. I don't think that he's the long-term starter in that CDM role. I think he's a squad player and a rotation player. That's how I view Scott personally. So who else really played a lot in the midfield? I don't even want to talk about the rest because Andreas Pereira is like, he's that guy probably on the training ground. Like, I'm watching my kids play right now, and there's always those kids that are like phenomenal. I mean, they're like, you know, hitting people with the rainbows, step over, Cruyff turns. You know, they're throwing down scissor kicks in practice, and they're banging out free kicks over walls and whatever. And they get in the game and they just puke all over themselves. I mean, it's terrible. That's how I feel. Andreas Pereira, he has a lot of skill. He has a lot of tech. So I'm assuming at practice, this guy's like, he's like primer. He's like Cristiano's first cousin in practice. But in the games, his decision making sometimes is that of like a lost possum. I mean, like, what are you doing, bro? I mean, opossum. I don't even know if you have those in Europe. We have them over here. They're not always the smartest situations going on. So Andreas makes some terrible decisions. I think he needs to be sold. I think, honestly, he would play well in a slower league. He's shown us he does okay in Spain. I think he would do okay in Spain. I think he'd do okay in Italy. Portugal, go back, where you speak the language and all that stuff really well. I think there's options for him to be sold. I just don't see it in Manchester United. And I wanted it to work for him because I really liked him. And I believe the hype because I watch all the big YouTube channels. And so I remember, listening to Howson and McCullough talk about him and Mark Goldbridge, the United stand, they just wax lyrical about this guy. So I drank the Kool-Aid. Andreas is the man. Andreas is he's going to do this and that. Andreas is better. No, they got me on that. They're not getting me again. He's not the guy. Juan Mata is a phenomenal player, but he's older and his legs is gone. And I just don't see him. Honestly, I'd love to see him in a slower league. Matter of fact, I'm real greedy. I want him in MLS, man. If DC United could get him, I like to slide down to some games from time to time, take my kids, man. I'd love to see Juan Mata. He's just saucy. He's got great skills, but age catches up to all of us. And the fact is the Prem is fast, and people kick the life out of you. And if he's not going to be playing in Bruno's position, which he's not, they put him out on the wing. It's not even his role, so it's not good for him. So I say sell Juan Mata, but if you keep him around, I'm not going to be mad about it. The main attacking threats across the front, obviously the super sub himself, Jesse Lingard, Mr. Dance Floor, dances all over Arsenal. The fact is, Jesse's a squad player. If he wants guaranteed first-team football and he wants this and wants that, I think he should be sold because I think Jesse can rebuild his career and at least have a shout for England going into the Euros if he goes somewhere where he'll start consistently. I would love United to try some kind of swap with Aston Villa where he could go and play the position that Jackie Grealish, because if I could bring in another midfielder beside a CDM, it would be Grealish, by the way. Jack Grealish, because I feel like Grealish would love to be at United and he would fight to be in the rotation. I don't think he would demand to be the starter right away. Grealish can play everywhere from 8 to 10 and to both of the wings. He's very versatile. I think he's a guy who would thrive at Manchester United. And listen, I don't have a hat on tonight, so y'all can tell I wear product. Listen, Ed, sign him up. Whatever type of hair gel sponsor that you guys get, I'll buy some of it because you signed Jack Grealish. In the short socks, I got time for it. However, and again, before y'all start screaming, Donny van de Beek, he's better, he's cheaper. Donny van de Beek wants to start somewhere. Who are you benching for him? Who are you benching? He's not going to come and just sit the bench. I don't believe that. He's been being courted by Real Madrid for 2 years to come in and to take over from either Cruz or Modric. And you think he's going to come and just sit. I don't see it. And he's ended up at Barca anyway if Koeman goes there because they're going to end up grabbing him because their midfield sometimes is whack. So Donny van de Beek, I'd love to have him. Don't get me wrong. He's way better value for dollar than Jack Grealish. I give you all that. But we just think that we're just automatically going to get people because we name them and we know their price. I just don't see why he would do it. If he would, sign him up. Leave Jackie Grealish out at the rave or whatever he's doing. Whatever. But doesn't seem likely to me. So let's talk about the main excitement of our front. it would be our starting three, which for the most of the year consisted of Anthony Martial when he wasn't hurt, which he was hurt a lot, which he gets hurt every year, Marcus Rashford, and Dan James. Dan James started off like a house on fire. I like him. You might not like what I'm going to say. I think he needs to be loaned. To me, Dan James is a super pace merchant. And as a coach and someone who watches the game a lot, there's always those people that are just ahead of other people because how fast they are. And I feel like once people catch up to that and know what you're doing, that people catch on quick. And I think that's happened with Dan James. I think he's tailored out a little bit toward the end of the year. I know it was a tough year for him. It's a big shirt, man. To go from Swansea to Manchester United with all the pressure. I don't think he expected to be a starter right away. To be starting all the time. His father passed. And again, that's horrible. I've walked through that season of life myself. And I know I probably still haven't recovered from it. But here's the thing. No one gave Pogba any kind of love when his dad passed. Where was the love? It was a whole lot of get on with it. So the fact is, I expect the same energy for Dan James. For you guys that are haters, I'll give him some time. But if you hated on Pogba, give Dan James the same energy. That's just the way I feel. But you won't, and we know why you won't. There's a couple reasons. You have to go back to one of my previous videos to find out. Has to do with your biases. But anyway, across the front, Mason, my guy Gunwood, is amazing. This guy is one of the most clinical finishers I have ever seen. Right foot, left foot, doesn't matter. The goal that he scored, oh my goodness, the stuff, what was it? The one that he scored at that was deemed offside against Copenhagen was just ruthless. He is a ruthless character, and I think we forget he's just a kid. So I still would like to see, I think we need to fill that 7 shirt. I want to see Jadon Sancho. He is another mercurial talent. We need Jadon Sancho. Have that rotation where Mason can also play down the middle and spell Martial. He can play out and spell Rashford. Honestly, the way Marcus has played toward the end of the season, Mason would take his job. And Marcus would be the one fighting for a starting spot. Because Marcus, the thing about Marcus, guys, is he's very much, he kind of reminds me of Ollie in a way. He's a very purple patch kind of player. It's like when Marcus gets hot, he's world-class hot. But when he's bad and in his head, he struggles tremendously. And listen, guys, the man broke his back this year. He didn't twist an ankle. Excuse me. He broke his back. My goodness. So I'm giving him a little bit of leeway. My biggest problem with Marcus is a lot of time the final decision. Sometimes he reminds me of Andreas. I'm like, what are you doing? He takes on shots when he should pass it. There are times where he tries too much. I think that when you idolize someone, it can get you in trouble when you stop just being you and you start being more and more and more like him. And I think that sometimes, I'm going to take a drink when I say this, I think sometimes when you guys joke and call him Rationaldo, he takes it serious. Because sometimes I feel like he's trying a little bit too much Cristiano stuff going on. But I love Marcus. He's one of my favorite players. Again, I would like to see him make it through a whole season without injury, see how he holds up. I think he needs to lock down that wing, make it his own. I forgot who I was watching the other day. It might have been McCullough, and he was talking about how he's heard rumblings that Marcus just isn't settled because he wants to play down the middle. Marcus, if you watch this video, stop all that. You can be Salah or Mane. You can be that caliber of winger. You can get that kind of love and more. But, bro, unless some things change, we remember when Tony was hurt and you were playing down the middle. We remember what we saw. And it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. I don't see Marcus being a number 9, especially when we already have a better backup number 9 there in Mason. Because Mason, guys, he's just showing it. He's ice cold. And so I would love to say Sancho coming in would change our team so much because Jadon can play all across the front, all 3 positions, and he plays the 10. He can spell Bruno as well. I don't know if you guys watch him at Dortmund, but I've seen him do all of that. And so, he'd be a phenomenal get. But overall, guys, I'm happy with our attack. If you told me, man, what did Martial and Rashford were both over 20 goals on the season. Both had significant injuries. And here's the crazy thing. Even though Rashford was on PKs for a while, After Bruno came in, he took all the PKs. If Anthony Martial was on PKs, like a lot of other people's strikers who like to say their striker gets the golden boot and all that kind of stuff, I'll tell you right now, if Anthony Martial was on PKs, he would have beat out Aubameyang this year. He would have been the highest. He'd have beat out Jamie Vardy. He'd have beat out all of them if he'd have been on PKs, but he wasn't. But anyway, front three guys has been awesome. Just to watch their development when they're not hurt. Overall, I'm excited about the prospects of the attack going forward. We know Odion, he filled in well, so I believe we do need another striker to come in, one of those guys that will come off the bench. I don't see us wanting honestly, I don't think we need anyone that we would say would replace Tony. I'm happy with Tony. I know that's kind of controversial. Some people want a better striker, but I'll tell you right now, I give him a whole season and watch what he does, man. Anthony Martial just keeps getting better and better, and he's about to enter into his prime. So I'm excited to see about that. We need some signings, though. I guess I'd like to bring in another midfielder. Actually, two. I just saw today that Conte is actually on the market. So if we could get N'Golo Conte, that might be a good get, too. I mean, because him and Paul are tight. So that would be a good get, even though I feel like he's fallen off the last couple of years a little bit. I don't want to just get all excited and hype about N'Golo Conte like he's the Conte of 2 years ago if he's not. I don't watch Chelsea enough to know, but I do know that he's been a phenomenal player and he'd be a good pickup. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about the midfield and the attack. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Is what I'm saying complete rubbish? Let me know. Get in the comments. If you're new, subscribe. Get involved here at Worldwide Red Show. Let's kick on next year. Vamos, United, let's go. Listen, it's time to just kick on from this past season. I've seen progression in every area of the pitch. We do need some signings. We do need to get deeper. We do need to get better drill. But overall, things could have been a lot worse this year because we finished strong. If you told me in January that we would finish where we did, I would have probably laughed in your face. So, guys, I'm excited overall. Happy about it. Thank you guys for jumping on with this journey with me with YouTube. I'm tired of just being a spectator all the time. I figured I'd start my own channel. So for all of you that are watching these videos, thank you for that. And let's be at it together. Hopefully in the new season, we'll be doing some live content where we can connect and talk to each other. But anyway, this has been Sean. Like, subscribe, get involved. Follow me on Twitter. www.reds_show. I think that's what Twitter gave me as the handle. So anyway, guys, until next time, I'm out.